Hey there viewers, Eric O here at South Main Auto. Got a new project today. I kind of share with you what I found, kind of take you along. You guys are really smart, so we'll all kind of put our heads together on this and see what you guys think. So, well, never done a video like this, but we're gonna do it now. So, got this 03 Trailblazer here. The lady has brought it in. I'll give you a quick history on it. If she doesn't drive it every day, the battery will be dead in 2 days. Cranks real slow the very next day. She's had to get numerous jump starts. She keeps a battery charger right in the back of the car actually. She just plugs it in when she gets home. She's had it at a bunch of different shops. She's had it at the dealer, just kind of bounced around with it. They've replaced batteries. You know, everybody's giving her the song and dance, but nobody's done anything. So that was at least the story I've got. I don't know her, she's not a normal customer, but she was referred to us. So anyhow, here's where I'm at. I checked it out. I used a low amp probe. Went around, well, first of all, I brought the vehicle in. I let it sit for, I don't know, it was probably 40 minutes or an hour while I did some other stuff. You know, took the key out, rolled the windows down, you know, looked inside, made sure I didn't see anything obvious, which I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. Let's see what I do. After that, you know, I already had the hood up. There's no under hood light or anything I had to worry about there. So I stuck my low amp probe on the positive side. There's 3 positive wires. I checked one to the alternator, I checked the one to the starter, and then I checked the one going into the fuse box, and it has a 0.250 amp draw. So it's drawing a quarter of an amp, which is too much. I know from experience these things here pretty much drop right down to zero, like, you know, 0.005 amps, you know, whatever it takes to keep the little red light on the radio blinking. So that's just from my experience. So a quarter amp is too much. Long story short, I went through and did what any of us do, started plucking fuses out of the fuse box. I got to the IPC fuse, so the instrument panel fuse, driver information. I think it's IPC DIC fuse, driver information center. I pulled that and everything went to zero. So looked down a wiring diagram, which I'll share with you guys. I'll take a picture of these and post them so you can see what they look like. I took and traced it down to that, looked at the wiring diagram. The only thing that runs off that power feed is the instrument panel cluster. So I thought, okay, well, it's got to be a bad cluster. My next thought was that cluster also has a class 2 bus wire going to it, which is going to, you know, receive the signal to, you know, go to sleep, so to speak. So my thought was, well, what if a computer, another module, because on the wiring diagram, there are multiple modules that run to it: HVAC module, transfer case, EBCM, radio, body module, PCM, theft deterrent. There's quite a few things that go to this instrument cluster. So I thought, well, we've got to isolate that bus wire to see if another module per se is keeping this instrument cluster awake. Fortunately, GM is really nice and they put a splice pack in there for us, which was conveniently located right behind the headlight switch. So I went in and disconnected that, so that cut all communications to everything. You know, basically open circuited all of the serial wires. Upon doing that, I still have a 250 milliamp draw. So a couple questions you might ask are, you know, how long have I let it sit? You know, since I pulled that. After I pulled that, things sat for better than an hour. You know, I did a key cycle with it. Just, you know, turn the key on, shut it off, open the door. You know, just like I would if I was going home to park it. So, so everything should have timed out. So really, right now I've got it sitting there. It's been sitting for quite a while since I've had the door open. The bus wire, the splice pack, is completely unhooked, and the only thing I've got a little fuse buddy in the fuse box, being that we know what fuse is drawn, and it's down to a quarter amp draw. So I'm going to go inside, I'm going to show you what I did, what I think, and then I'm going to get your opinions on it. Here's the underhood fuse box. I don't know if you guys seen one of these or not. These are really cool if you haven't. This is a fuse buddy. You can stick it in, you know, in a fuse, and then you put the fuse, you know, in the fuse holder here. and it allows you to see amperage draw across any given circuit. So this is the same exact amperage draw that I had with the low amp probe hooked around the battery cable. So this is, you know, completely 100% right, you know, 0.23 amps or 0.24 amps, somewhere right in that neighborhood. And it's, so you can see that the instrument cluster, this is the IPC fuse. This is, let's see what fuse number here. So this is fuse number 24. So it's down there in the bottom right hand corner. Hope you guys can see that. So yep, fuse 24 is defined as the IPC DIC fuse. It's a 10 amp fuse. So that's where that's all going. So I'll go inside and show you what I did there. Try to do this without being too shaky. You can see everything's tore apart because naturally I want it to get to the cluster. Like I said, I'll try to do this without being too shaky. This is the bus bar that goes in the wires over here for the communication. Let's see if I can find that for you down here. So that is right there. This is the splice bar that every communication wire runs to, and then they're all jumped together with this jumper bar, and then, you know, obviously from there it goes to the data link connector. So with that unhooked, you know, I have no communications to the cluster. So essentially what that has done, it should have isolated the cluster all by itself. All right, sorry about the lighting in here. I know it's pretty poor, but here's what I used to find the initial problem. You know, you guys that are techs are probably pretty familiar with this. You know, just a low amp probe. I used my meter and I went through, and you know, this is how I initially started the problem or the diagnosis till I switched to the fuse buddy. So then what I did is with that bus bar unhooked, so I had no worries about anything, you know, telling this module to, you know, stay awake, so to speak. I took and I pulled the cluster back, and I let's see here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I undid the tape. Oops, sorry about that. I usually don't move the camera around like this, apologize. So I undid the tape right there on the connector. So you got the blue connector. So I pulled the tape back. Let's set back up. So I took and, you guys are just gonna deal with it being a little crooked here. I took and pulled the tape back, and then I took my low amp probe and I went around each wire on the instrument cluster to make sure that, you know, obviously I knew the wire going in was drawn, you know, 1/4 amp, but was the instrument cluster putting out power, you know, to something else, you know, and, you know, going through and just being distributed through the instrument cluster was my thought. So to answer that question, no. The only 2 wires here that had any amperage draw on them at all, which was exactly what I'm reading under there, the 1/4 amp, was the orange wire and the black wire with the white stripe. So the power going in and the ground going out. I knew, you know, that a bad ground, you know, wouldn't cause an amperage draw like this, but just because I know somebody's going to ask, what I did is I took my 10-foot jumper lead that I have, I hooked it right to the battery negative. I used a back probe and I came right in the black with white wire, or the black wire with the white stripe. Back probed it to make sure I had 100% good ground, and I had the same exact readings. You know, I still had a 1/4 amp draw. Okay, so if you follow that all along, and with that being said, I have to deem the instrument cluster as being junk. I would be curious your thoughts, what you think. And here is the little wrench to the whole mix. This lady claims that if I change this, it will be her 3rd instrument cluster she's had replaced in this thing. She's had a couple units a while ago. She didn't give me a time frame. That she told me she had replaced. I don't know if they were new or used or what the story was there. And then she's had this one put in, which I assume is a Dorman, because she said she, you know, bought it. She said it was a couple $100, but again, didn't give me a time frame. So I should probably get a little more info out of her. But just found it's kind of curious that, you know, having replaced 3 of them, now this again. This has been an ongoing problem for a year. So I'm going to get a little more info from her, see if, you know, when this was replaced, did the problem start? Was the problem there before? Was this replaced in efforts to repair the problem? I don't know. Have I had bad parts right out of the box? Absolutely. So I guess that's it. This really isn't much of a repair video. It's just more of a, here's what I did, here's where I'm at, and this is what I think. So I'm definitely going to say, to the best of my knowledge, this needs an instrument cluster. simply because I think we've isolated every possible cause that could, turn this cluster on and be drawing, any amount of amperage from it. So if I skip something and you know something, definitely leave it in the comment box. I'm gonna try to keep this car here overnight because I know you guys will respond quickly, and like to get into things like this just as much as I do. So be interested to see what you see or see what you say. See if you've had any. Try that again. See if you have had any experiences with these. Just a quick Google on an '03 Chevy anything. They had tons of problems with these IPCs, I guess. I work on a lot of Chevys and stuff around here. I've never really seen any problem with them that causes parasitic draw. So I don't know. I mean, I've changed. Granted, anybody that's in this business, you do stepper motors out your wazoo. Changing, because the oil pressure gauges quit and speedometers quit and tacks quit. But I've never seen one draw a battery down. The only thing on this one that doesn't work is the gas gauge. Supposedly she had that diagnosed at another shop, and that was the fuel level sensor. Chose not to fix it. I don't think that can be causing us any problems. Let's see, what else you guys like to know? This has 112,000 miles, or almost 111, 290 on the clock. I did not pull codes, because I know you'll probably ask that. I haven't pulled any codes out of the instrument panel or anything else. No other lights on, starts, runs fine. No other complaints, other than the fact that her blower motor resistor shot. It's got a bad mode door actuator, won't change modes. A couple other little things like that she was, explaining to me that didn't work, but I didn't think were relevant to any of this. So anyhow, I'm going to wrap it up. Tell me what you think. I'm going to call it a cluster. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching.